Next is from Nicho, from our popcorn guy, the movie review guy. Subject is Instagram content. Greetings and salutations. My question is for the superior one about his new Instagram. What kind of content will this new account have compared to the one that got hijacked? The haircut pics were cool and gave me ideas for my own hairstyle. Dare I say I'm addicted to the fade?
Ooh,
Just a suspension.
Okay.
yeah, it's
Shout
swing and a
yeah,
miss.
shout out to the Discord members. Thanks, guys. Take care. P.S. Disco, are you ready to do my podcast? I took a hiatus, but I'm ready to start back up soon. You've been among some amazing guests I've had on already. CJ Emmanuel, Rocky from the Super Ugly Show, Mike the Hitman, Sarge the Destroyer, Tito and Everett from That's What I'm Talking.
Good, I like that.
I don't
Good
know.
job, Nicho.
Maybe who knows? I don't know.
Okay, you're still suspended. And here's a new rule I just thought of right now because if you put in the mailbag or my Twitter anything alluded to addicted to the blade or the fade or anything like that, blocked. Not only will that person be on definite suspension, Joe, because think you're behind this. I have a feeling, could be wrong, that on Discord you guys got together and let's start sneaking stupid saying in the mailbag. So every time that somebody does it, I'm gonna dock you $50. So it's gonna
There's a
cost you money.
there's a
So
lot
that
of
little game that you guys came up with, it's gonna cost you money.
there's a lot of addicted to the jokes in Discord, but in no way
Yeah,
have I directed anyone to email in
I
that kind of
find that
stuff.
hard to believe, my friend. All right.
Next is from Richard
Are you
Hernandez.
believing that story, Di,
Yes.
that he just
Oh no,
told
no,
you?
no,
You
no I don't
do?
believe. Yeah.
Come on,
No, I,
you've
Okay.
I
always been
think I
very
think that there's
trustworthy.
I think that they are in cahoots.
Yes. One
Yeah.
hundred percent. He's laughing too much, and he doesn't laugh only if it's Raven, by the way.
Yeah, 70
Right.
times a week.
Next is from
Right.
Richard Hernandez. Subject is where are the AAA belts? Hey, what's up, crew? I have a quick question for Conan. When Phoenix is, why is Phoenix not on AAA shows anymore? The last match was in December, but he already had have 1 year that he won the cruiserweight title and the Latin American titles. Is it any problem with the visa or something like that? Un cafecito y un pastel de
But
Gayaba
I,
Papa Chingate esa. Saludos desde Monterrey. That's greetings from Monterrey.
Okay.
what is
That last part that you just beautifully butchered
Hmm
is
cafecito?
un cafecito y un pastel de guayaba, papá. Okay,
Okay.
chingate esta. So basically, that's that coffee that I told you that I
Yeah.
drink, Postello,
Right.
that you like too. And
Yeah,
then there's this Cuban pastry called pastelito de guayaba, and together it's like peanut butter, and it's awesome.
beautiful.
But well, Phoenix has been a big problem because he had visa problems. Then he got hurt. He couldn't even wrestle in AEW, and then we had scheduling conflicts. But he should be defending it on right after Triple Mania.
Next is from Brad Zawacki, and the subject is War to Settle the Score storyline. Thanks for reading my questions. It's been talked about the Bloodline story is arguably the most compelling story in pro wrestling history. I feel the War to Settle the Score angle involving Hogan versus Piper, where Cyndi Lauper doesn't get enough credit. The storyline created buzz in the mainstream media, including MTV and the launch of WrestleMania. Do you feel the story is not talked about enough as one of the best angles in history? If you ever had a roundtable discussion for most compelling stories, I'd love to find it. If not, I'd love to participate in it. Bro, that's from like 30 something years ago. Nobody's talking about Cyndi Lauper.
Hey, cut Brad
Well, yeah,
Zwicky a
that's a
joke.
problem because it,
He sent
huh?
us a baseball hat and a shirt. Remember, you guys got that,
Oh,
right?
that's great. Yeah, I like
That's from
those
Brad. Yeah,
shirts too. Very
yeah. The
Well,
shirts are very nice.
here's
Yeah.
Yeah.
here's the thing about that. I was going to say the same thing about the Disco said. It happened so long ago, people forget, you know.
Right.
And that was a great storyline, but
Yeah.
people don't remember it because a lot of people weren't even born, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's a promo afterwards where Piper comes in to talk shit to Mean Gene, and Danny DeVito's there, and he kind of like, get out of here, DeVito, and blah blah. It's just very good, intense Piper stuff
When
for anybody who wants
Captain
to look
Lou
it
was
up.
involved too, and he was an annoying
Yeah, he
character
was
too.
great. He was
Yeah,
Yeah.
great, and
and
he
then he
ended up being in her video. Girl, just want to have fun.
and turn face. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think Piper smashed the record over his head, the gold
yeah.
record or
Yeah.
whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Next is from Sergio Morales, subject is Little Spike Dudley. Mr. Disco, Mr. Coney, you guys are legends. Hey, Coney, can you tell us about shooting Spike with a stun gun? Spike is awesome.
Wait a
Shout
minute.
out from Dallas. My mom loves you, K Dog.
All right. Well, she's got good taste. Let me see. What I remember about that angle was, we were very hot at that time because, you know, I my whole thing was as a militant radical, I was always pissed off about the man, you know, and the establishment. And so I had done a pro. This I remember exactly. So he had like a cardboard vest underneath his shirt because we wanted it to look realistic, and he had aluminum foil, which I would have thought would have,
Made the shock
maybe
worse.
energized.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but it didn't. That's what he was wearing because I did shoot him, and you could see the electricity and all that. And then I said, I'm just like the Orlando Police Department. I shoot first, ask questions later, which they were very pissed because Orlando Police Department was security in Impact,
Sure.
and they went and I either told Jeff or Dixie because I got, I said, please don't mention the Orlando Police Department ever again in your promos.
Next is from Sungana Chanko. The subject is, did FTR really choose AEW? Good day, K100 crew. There was a couple-week period there a few months ago where there was some debate over where FTR would end up. Will they sign with WWE or remain AEW? They end up staying in AEW, but since making that decision, their booking's been one level above awful. However, we found out that WWE has had a hiring freeze since January of 2023, so that begs a question. Did FTR choose to remain AEW, or did they have to stay because WWE couldn't sign any new talent due to negotiations of the sale? I think the same for Nick Aldis, Tamatanga, Jay White, and Kota Ibushi, who are all rumored to be on the way. Bro, the only guy that would make an impact is Nick Aldis as a television character.
Tonga.
He's all right, but I don't know, dude. Those are, like Jay White was supposed to be a thing,
Yeah.
and he's been in it's just not interesting. It gets no reaction or nothing.
I had actually missed that story. For if you guys don't know, or for the listeners that don't, FTR actually, I thought they were there because their contracts got extended for missing time, but actually they signed a new 4-year deal. So they're
for
there
AEW.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's a mistake. They could have gone back to WWE and work with the Usos probably.
Well, I guess they've had a lot of assertions that they'll be the big tag team on Collision.
Yeah, whatever.
They're Punk's buddies.
They're not. You know what? They're not very good on the mic. Like their in-ring promos are they're very underwhelming.
Well, I don't like them as baby faces though.
Yeah, so they could use a manager, to be honest with you. Next is from Jonathan Wood, and the subject is maybe your boy Abram. What's his name? Abrahantes. What's his
Abrahantes with the Mickey Mouse gloves. Do you like those white gloves that he wears?
Yeah. Next is from
bring
Jonathan
in Jay George
Wood.
For that.
The subject is AEW as ECW. Hello again. I've grown very tired of watching AEW burying the refs. There's no such thing as a 10 count, apparently. They only have disqualifications if it benefits the angle, and in certain cases, the referees try to make themselves the center of attention. All that being said, would it not be beneficial for AEW to just adopt the ECW approach if every match is a no DQ? They pretty much have it already going at this point, as there are times when people are on the floor for 3 or 4 minutes and are blatantly using foreign objects or having manager interference with no repercussions. So Sunday was a huge ECW fan. They think this might also differentiate it from WWE for people who are looking for an alternative. By the way, Joe, I listened to the Kevin Gill interview on Business of the Business. I now have a vote for worst show in history over Get My Go. Terrible all around. What wasn't terrible was y'all's Jeff Katz interview. It made me wonder. Since K100 Sports started got rave reviews, have you all thought of doing something like K100 Movies? I think a lot of people will be interested in your takes on either new films or select films you just watched. Thanks again for all your hard work and making this the best podcast around. This from John Wood.
I think
they can't go no DQ. They just gotta tighten up. They do constantly bury the referees, but that's everybody's fault in the match and the referee's fault.
Right, well, and the agent.
Right.
When Russo and Bischoff came back in spring 2000, they made it a point for Tony Schiavone on TV to say, we're going to loosen things up here a little bit. The referees are going to have a lot more leeway to let things happen. So it was explained to the viewer why the fuck all of a sudden WWE was using tables and interference wasn't being disqualified. So maybe if AEW said something like that, like, well, the referees,
but wasn't Joe wasn't say that last part again because I was texting something.
In WCW, when Eric and Vince came back, they explained on TV through the commentators that the rules were going to be not so strictly enforced anymore. They were going to let go for it and let everything kind of go, except if it got really past the extreme.
Now, didn't ECW have a rule? All the matches were no DQ.
It was, but it kind of went without saying. Like they wouldn't say before a match. It's just like, hey, this is just ECW. Yeah.
All right. So why don't they, when they're going to have a match where they're not going to follow the rules, call them lucha rules if they're luchadors, or I don't know.
Yeah, extreme rules, whatever. And I think the K100 movies idea is good, but I don't think that we have any other. We squeeze a lot in, and we use a lot
We
of
have
time
enough
to record.
content as it is.
Yeah.
Next is from Doug Yoder.
Although I'll be proposing to the crew that I be given permission to do an AW Collision review show. So we'll see if that passes.
That will not, bro. Those shows stink. Like Rampage is nothing happens on them.
Well, maybe the first Collision anyway.
Next is from Doug Yoder, and the subject is booking question. Conan Disco, could booking Dom Mysterio as the greatest cruiserweight champion work? Maybe even having Dom have a long reign and get Ray involved, or play off the Buddy Rose gimmick where Dom announces his own weight. Also, WWE can still push Priest in heavyweight title picture. I mean, do they even have a cruiserweight championship on WWE anymore?
I don't think they do.
No, I don't
think
like that. I'd rather
see Dom get
a
on the
bigger,
lesser shows, maybe.
Dom could be the Intercontinental Champion, so I think that's
he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to be cruiserweight champion. The cruiserweight title's in NXT, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know.
I think it is.
I don't watch NXT.
Right. Next is from Timothy Cologne. Subject is question number 2. Hi, question 2. Hi, I have a few questions I hope you can all answer on your show. 1. Will managers ever come back the way it was with Heenan, Jimmy Hart, Cornette, Slick, Elizabeth, Baby Doll, and J.G. Dillon? This part of wrestling is missed. I like seeing Heenan family-type faction. One manager with multiple heels that aren't affiliated. Will there be a faction with as many... This is question number 2. Will there ever be a faction with as many members as NWO in the U.S.? Many people thought it ruined it, but I thought it was kind of cool at one point to see so many members come out at one time and only care that Hogan was world champion. They made a lot of money and got other titles.
You'll love
3.
Number 3.
Was Diesel the first to put a middle finger up in television when he did to Undertaker at Royal Rumble '96? Do you think Vince okayed this, or he did it because he was lacking? 4. What do you consider the best female wrestling match of all time that sets the standard? Thanks, and this is from TC in Brooklyn. Well, the managers today are terrible. Except for Paul.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody knows what they're doing out there. They don't know how to get heat. They don't cut good promos. He's stuck.
I got a question, a Disco, before you finish for you and Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, while you were talking, I'm thinking, other than Paul Lee and Don Callis, who is a good manager nowadays?
Nobody.
Scarlett. I don't know if she's like a valet. I don't know.
Yeah, I consider her more of a valet.
No, this is lost.
He doesn't even talk. Yeah, bro. And in our era, we had Heenan, Paulie, Gary Hart, Jim Cornette,
Jimmy Hart,
Jimmy Hart, Sherry Martel. Like, we had so many.
Yep.
And they were all good. Today they just stand there. Woman, yeah, they just stand there and they just, they don't work the crowd, they don't get involved. It's like the whole posse has to come out. That's why I liked when Ray and what's his name? Santos fought the Usos on SmackDown. They didn't come out with the whole LWO posse.
Yeah.
It was just them two again. Yeah.
Disco, you never really had a manager, did you?
No.
You never brought out like a female. You never brought out like a valet on the Indies or something.
No.
A shot, yeah.
Will there ever be a faction as many members of NWO? No, of course not, unless the Dark Order adds 20 more people.
Froze. Disco seems tired. You think that night out with Callis took its toll on him?
Yeah, I think the tip really, sapped them of their energy.
Yeah.
I don't know the best female match I've ever. I don't know. I mean, I just don't know.
Conan, you would probably reference All Japan women, right?
Definitely, bro. There's never been to me anybody better than those 90s, Manami Toyota and Hakuto and Aja Kong. And, bro, they had it was incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the mailbag.
That's it for the mailbag?
Yeah.
Enjoy the rest of the show. Boom.